Really is a kid that was doubted, you know what I mean? A kid that nobody thought would be in this position, bro. You know what I mean? A kid that nobody thought was even gonna go play in the States at a prep school in Florida, you know what I mean? Revenge is a kid that nobody thought would even get the opportunity to go D1. Coming from Haiti, not many kids get that opportunity. That's all I could say behind it, and it's always gonna be behind me.
Famous, how could I stop now? Gotta skip some sleep and put the clock down. Brother left the earth, so now I'm working around the clock to do the things he should've got now. I'm just living life.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Off the Clock with YunoJSA. I'm here with Shakespeare Louis. Shakespeare, how you doing today, bro?
I'm good. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. But first off, before we get into the real question of the interview, we spoke about this a little bit off camera, but I feel like it's also right to say it on camera. But I really want to give you your flowers. You know what I mean? A DB came from Ottawa, going to big stages like LSU, putting out for the city, doing big things. Like I said this off camera too, but I remember when I was younger, being in like 9th, 10th grade, watching you and Baca, be like, yo, I got to make sure my highlight tape looks like theirs. So if I want to go D1, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got to model my game after them. So just want to say thank you for paving the way for the younger guys in Ottawa for sure, bro.
Appreciate it, bro.
Of course. On the LSU experience, though, coming from Ottawa, small beginnings to that big stage at LSU, playing in front of like 100,000. Explain, like, how was that process for you? That experience?
Honestly, it was definitely a great experience playing in Death Valley. You know what I mean? I feel like just when I started playing football and actually like wanting to go D1 and wanting to play at the next level, like I never actually imagined myself playing in Death Valley. You know what I mean? So playing there was definitely surreal. But it was also like an eye opener just to be like, okay, like we can compete against these guys. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But overall, just the atmosphere, like the amount of people that were in that stadium, it was definitely crazy, bro. Like beginning of the game, bro, we couldn't hear anything. Like when our offense get on the field, you can't hear a thing, bro. Like it's loud in there. So Death Valley, all the things they say about Death Valley, I think is definitely true.
That stadium pulse is real, huh?
Oh yeah, that stadium pulse is definitely real.
For sure.
Yeah, they have some. It's a definitely good place to play. They have a pretty big fan base, you know what I mean? But just overall great experience to play there because it's a bunch of kids only dream to play in Death Valley. So getting that opportunity to play there, bro, was a experience that that's for a lifetime, bro. Like I'll cherish forever for sure.
100%. And I'll dive into the football questions in a second, but I feel like the name Shakespeare, very unique name. To the viewers who are watching, my real name is Josh, so my name is very common. What's it been like, going throughout life with a unique name like Shakespeare?
I mean, shoot, in class is always the Shakespeare jokes always used to come up. But I was always proud of my name, you know what I mean? My dad, he actually write a lot of poems. He used to be a literature teacher, so that's one of the biggest reasons why he named me Shakespeare. And he wanted me to, make something out of myself. So that's something I pride myself at, you know what I mean? And also just the fact that my name also, just because of the fact that it's so unique, brought me in rooms that I never thought I'd be in, you know what I mean? Because it's a name you'll remember, you know what I mean? So there was pros and cons, but more pros than cons for sure. But at the end of the day, I love my name, bro.
Definitely, I hear you. And there's a quote that's very common in our society that says, behind every great man is a great woman. And, you were raised by your grandmother, you have 2 sisters, you're the middle child, and you have a very supportive mother. What role has these women played in your journey to get to where you are today?
Bro, a lot, bro. I think all my best qualities, bro, came from these women, to be honest. My sisters, love them to death. My mom, all the good qualities she has, bro. Like she's a great person. One of the most humble people I know. Very kind. She has a great heart. You know what I mean? And I think my best qualities come from her, bro. Like in terms of being nice to other people, being nice to strangers, understanding how to carry myself in public when there's nobody watching. You know what I mean? Doing the right thing. I think those things come from her, you know what I mean? All those lessons she taught me. And my grandmother, she played a big part into raising me from the age of 3 to when I was 9, and then when I was 9, that's when I moved to Canada and lived with my parents, of course. But you know, my grandma, I wouldn't be here without her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Growing up was getting in trouble a lot when I was younger, running around, just being a kid when I was in Haiti. You know what I mean? But she's definitely like a second mom to me. But yeah, the women in my life, bro, definitely played a big part into being the person I am right now.
100%. And they've made you into a great DB. And, you know, I've been able to watch you play DB for many years now. And I can say, you know, definitely one of the best DBs I've seen.
Appreciate
But
it, bro.
I feel like an underrated asset that you have that not a lot of people know is you're actually a great field goal holder. And that's why I wanted my laptop for this video, I want to show you this video from back in the day. Hold on.
Bro, I forgot that video even existed, bro.
So like to the scouts out there, you know what I mean, who might be looking for an extra holder, you know,
Yeah.
what do you have to say about that ability in your game?
You know, I got some skill sets that can get us some more points and get us in the end zone. You know what I mean? If you run a fake or whatever it may be, I'm your guy.
Definitely. And why'd you have to do the corner like that though? Like you gotta just embarrass him, bro.
I mean,
like,
it's football.
I hear
You know what I mean? If you don't bring it, somebody's gonna come do it to you. So it's just football.
Definitely. And then, you know, after your time at Mel Blair, transferred to St. Matt's, and then you weren't able to play that I believe it was your sophomore or junior year there. But eventually you end up going to Clearwater right after that time. You used that time to really focus on yourself, and then you went to Clearwater.
Bro, you did your research, bro.
You
did your research.
I had to, bro. I had to, man.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this is how I'm trying to make my money one day.
That's real, bro.
So
I mess with it, fam.
Gotta make sure I come through correct with the
Yeah.
questions. But yeah, throughout that time, you really focused on yourself to train for Clearwater. And then once you got to Clearwater, you were able to make an instant impact. Do you look back on that moment now where you weren't able to play as like a blessing in disguise?
100%. You know, I was coming off that summer, like kind of like the summer in between me transferring from Mel Bleu to St. Matt's. I played junior GGs a little bit that summer, but which helped me get some good film, you know what I mean? But when I got to St. Matt's, you know, Coach Jean, he told me not to worry too much about the school, the athletic director essentially not letting me play. But he told me not to worry about it. He was just like, okay, that's when he put me on with Isaiah. So that off season, that's when you know, the real work was being put in. I met Isaiah, and then that whole season while everybody was in season, I was just grinding behind the scenes with Isaiah every day. And then honestly, like I was also on the sideline with the team whenever there was like a game, help them with water, you know what I mean? Just doing my part. Even though I wasn't playing, which hurt, but you know, I stayed around the team, which helped me a lot. And you know, those guys that year, that's my guys. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was a part of the team, even though I didn't play. But just being around, helping them with water. I was still practicing sometimes actually until they stopped me from practicing. But definitely great experience. Like looking back, it was definitely a blessing in disguise, and that's something I'm a real believer in. To be honest, is you know the things that you go through, there's always a purpose. There's always a purpose and a reason for the things you go through, whether things don't go your way or if they do. Everything's designed purposefully, you know.
Everything is God ordained, 100%.
Facts.
And then you end up getting to Clearwater though. How was that adjustment like in terms of football and then in just like social life as well?
So when I first got there, so in terms of social life, it was pretty good, honestly, just because of the fact that it wasn't just me. That was, I think, the year where there was a big wave of Canadians going from Canada to, you know, down south. So I had a lot of guys in the similar situations. We had a couple guys from overseas, but for the most part, we had a lot of guys from Ottawa, some guys from Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, you know, all over Canada. So having those guys that shared the same type of experience as me being away from home made us closer together. You know what I mean? It's like we're trauma bond, essentially, you know?
Yeah.
So having those guys, like, you know, those are my brothers to this day, but having those guys around definitely helped, especially the times where things may have got rough, you know what I mean? Boost up the morale, having them around. That was like, we were like a little family, you know what I mean? But for the most part, it was good. Honestly, I developed, I feel like, as a player, especially going down there, bro. Like I went down there 165 I believe my senior year. Then I did a post-grad year as well. So the year after that, I went from 165 to like 205. So there's a big difference. I had gained some weight. You know what I mean? It wasn't, for the most part, it wasn't always good weight,
Nah,
but
I've seen,
coming from an undersized DB to putting on some weight was huge for me. But overall, for the most part, Clearwater was good. Great experiences overall, honestly.
for sure. And talking on that experience of Clearwater, I feel like at Clearwater or just like in different spaces when athletes go prep,
Right.
they're forced to be like in a box, like, oh, I'm just here to be an athlete. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But tell me about how you're able to express your creativity with studio sessions with TGETruth back when you're in Clearwater. How did that let you be?
Bro, how you know that?
Did my research, man.
Yeah.
How did those studio sessions help you, of course, take your mind off of football for a little bit, and then just, remind yourself that, like, hey, although I'm here for sports, I can still have a little bit of fun with the guys
Shout
on the
out
side.
TGETruth, bro. But overall, it was good, bro, because sometimes after games we'd be bored. You know what I mean? We'd either like go to the beach or sometimes we'd go to the studio. And everybody that would go to the studio, bro, like we'd all like write and record something. We'd all pitch in, bro. Like, let's do something. You know what I mean? It's like, instead of like going to the club, for us it was like, you know what I mean? Like, we found it fun, bro. Like, just whether it was the rap was good or not, it was like, bro, it was a vibe. You know what I'm saying?
For
You know how it is. Like, you're just spinning with your guys.
Nah, definitely.
So, honestly, that's exactly how it was. But just I think that's something that definitely helped all of us, like in the middle of kind of like boredom, you could say, having something to do, but that's also like keeping us out of trouble. You know what I mean? Because that's the biggest thing, being away from home. Like, it can be easy to fall into the wrong things and fall out of line and get in trouble. So having those things around to kind of help us pass time was definitely good for sure. And being in like surrounded by the beach, bro, that was amazing, to be honest.
Definitely. And I also heard you say this in like a prior interview before. You said your network is your net worth, which I believe to be very true in life, right? But I also read that you're on a Cumberland team that had 60 guys that end up going D1 on it. And then you're also at Clearwater. In your graduating class alone had 10 guys that would go D1. So kind of talk about how just being around dogs inspired you to just continue to push yourself and strive for greatness.
Yeah. So it was also like, to be honest, I feel like I always prided myself in hard work, but you need to be put out of your comfort zone. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. That's one thing about me, I would say as well. So my first year at Clearwater, being around guys like Akeem Mesidor, Joe, Johari, Brandon Barrow, Ludovic Chaquette, but I could go on. Like, so many guys playing with Ebenezer, Albert Reese, Seydu, you know what I mean? So like, I can go on, bro. Like, there's just so many names, Nathan Karabatsakis, Cyrus Magero. There's just so many guys that, they forced me to level up my player game, like guys like Dylan Jette, bro, like going against him at practice. Those are guys that made me better. We made each other better because we had similar goals. We had a brotherhood, and we understood that, like, if I bring my best today and you bring your best today, then we're both gonna just get that much better. You know what I mean? And the next day, and we just keep stacking. So all those guys, like, especially on the defense, seeing one guy make a big hit, you're like, bro, like, I want to do the same thing. It's energy, it's contagious. So having those guys around, and those guys are doing pretty good for themselves as well. Some of those guys are about to get into the NFL, some CFL, but being surrounded by greatness, bro, like,
force you to be great.
Force you to be great, and it forces you to show up as your best every day, because if you show up tomorrow and you're not at your best, then it's like, you have guys around that's willing to pull you up on your worst days as well. So great experience. I had guys that helped me becoming the player that I am today, and that goes for teammates at Robert Morris, teammates at Southeastern Louisiana as well.
For sure. And also, you mentioned coming into Clearwater as an undersized DB, and then even I believe for sure Robert Morris had a redshirt year. Throughout that whole process, I'm sure there was some moments where you doubted yourself. in a sense of like, can I really do this? Am I really on the right path? In those moments, how did you build up your spirits against it? You know, what I'm doing is going to pay off one day.
Yeah. Honestly, with me, I feel like I'm a highly positive person. I never really doubted myself, honestly. Like I can't say there's a moment that I doubted myself, but there's moments obviously I'm like, man, like why? Like kind of felt like the process was delayed for me a couple times, especially going through certain injuries. And when I got to Southeastern as well, tore my ACL, things that kind of I felt like delayed the process for me. But now in another perspective, it was never a delay. You know what I'm saying? It was the perfect timing for me. So going through those things built me up, honestly, and gave me even more just it gave me more strength mentally to that I thought I always thought I was a strong-minded person, but going through those things, what I'm saying, definitely like um got my strength of mind a lot better, bro. So yeah, great experiences for sure.
Definitely. And now, flipping from the Clearwater stories to the university time, you end up going to Robert Morris. What made Robert Morris the best fit for you at that time? Leaving Clearwater.
I mean, honestly, so I had a couple. That was one of my D1 offers, and another one I had was Howard. I ended up losing Howard, so Robert Morris was, the only school that was willing to give me a chance. So for me, that was huge. Like I had a couple other D2 schools as well, but for me, like they gave me an opportunity, and I had to take it. And it was like that's the only school that believed in me, so I got to make the best out of it.
And then, how did you know that it was time to leave and enter the portal?
Oh, it's kind of like that gut feeling that you get that it's time to move on from a place, And honestly, like that's one thing about it. Like the bonds that I have from those teams, bro, unbreakable. But like I talk to some of those guys like to this day, like we might not talk on a regular basis, but when we check up on each other, bro, there's never any love lost, which is great. But great relationships even with the coaching staff. But overall, bro, like I just felt like for me it was time for me to move on and and I wanted to go up and go to a better school, and bigger school, So that's the truth.
And then you get to SLU, and then kind of derail a bit of the journey, the how you thought things were going to go with the ACL. How was that recovery process, and what did you learn about yourself or about your faith, your belief in God throughout that whole recovery journey?
So the whole recovery process. So I remember I got hurt in training camp. It was a week prior to us playing Tulane, I believe, and then a couple of days right after, I got surgery. So then, like in the moment, bro, obviously, I when they told me I tore my ACL, like I cried. You know what I mean? I shed a couple tears, which was like, I know I'm about to miss a whole season of football after going through summer workouts, after going through a good spring. You know what I mean? So now it was like, okay, I'm about to miss a whole season of football. So I burst out crying, bro. Like I went to the room. Nobody knew I even cried, bro. Like that's one thing about it. When I cry, bro, I keep it to myself. So, but yeah, went to the room, cried, and then after that, like the next day, it was okay. Like let's schedule this surgery and let's get it done. And then once we scheduled it, got it done. 2 days after, but it was straight to work. Like 2 days after, bro. Like I'm crutching to the. Like they picked me up at the apartments and then dropped me off at the facility, and then it was doing rehab. Like it was like that every morning, just rehab every morning. And then I go back to the football facility, get extra rehab, and I'd watch the guys practice. I was still going to team meetings, was still going to position meetings, because one of the biggest things for me was like, okay, my legs not working right now. I can't really walk, but this is working, and football is 90% mental. So I'm like, okay, how can I boost my IQ during that moment? So that was definitely a big part of my game for the following season, because of the fact that, okay, I was able to process things now a lot faster when I came back. And when I came back, it was like I never lost a step, you know what I mean? And for me, just being surrounded by great people at Southeastern as well, like the hospitality down south, that's one thing I say is amazing. You know what I mean? Being surrounded by great staff, great athletic staff, bro. Like they help me, bring me to my appointments every week. bring me to PT. Bro, it was just crazy. And, being far away from home, like I'm 24 hours away from home, so um, having those people around definitely helped a lot. And, it's something that if I had to go back in time, bro, I wouldn't change anything. You know what I mean? It taught me more patience. It made me more patient. Just because of the fact that, you're sitting down and now it's like, what are you going to do about it? You can't do nothing with your legs. And all I wanted to do was play football, bro. But it gave me the opportunity to just strengthen those relationships back home. Being away from home is like because I spent like 7 years away from home, bro. So being away from home, sometimes you tend to get farther from the people that actually matter, So for me, it was important to just strengthen those relationships, whether it was with my mom, my sisters, talk more to my dad, you know what I mean? Just things like that, or like talk more to my friends back home. That just gave me time to just show those people that, that like there's no love lost, you know what I mean? Like I'm always here. So I wouldn't take it back, bro.
Definitely. And you mentioned how, right after the surgery, or a couple days later, you're trying to get back into the athletic facility. And I feel like that really shows your work ethic. And I remember, we talked about this a bit off camera, but the first time we met was myself, my brother, Huncho, and JR, and we went to, I think it was a training, like a DB session at like noon or something like that.
Yeah.
We were at the field for like an hour, maybe 2 hours, putting in work. And then
Was that Millennium?
It wasn't at Millennium. It was at some field close to Millennium, though. It was at some grass field very close to Millennium.
Oh, though. Yeah, I know exactly. It was at a park.
Yeah, it was at a park.
It was at a
park.
Yeah.
And then I remember after that, me, my brother, and JR and Huncho went to Baka's crib, ate some food, and then after that, maybe 2 hours later, we were back at the field again doing conditioning. And after that session with you guys, I was like, okay, like,
that's when the legs were young.
I thought I had a work ethic, but just seeing you guys, I was like, okay, there's like just levels to this work ethic thing, right? When it comes to just work ethic, do you think that's something you're born with, or that's something that's like an accumulation of different circumstances that life throws at you?
I think it could be both. You could be born with a good work ethic, you know what I mean? But also I feel like your surrounding plays a big part of that. Just watching my mom, how hard she worked, watching my dad, how hard he worked, and wound up, I was like, okay, like, I can't be lazy, bro. Like, I have to be on my P's and Q's. And I always felt like I owe it to myself to be the best version of myself. And you can't do that without hard work and putting in the work daily. And also, I feel like I owe it to the people around me to be the best version of myself for them. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're a blessing for the people around you as well. You know what I mean? So it's all about perspective as well. But honestly, bro, like surrounding matters. And I think just watching my parents, like how hard they worked and never stopped to take care of their responsibilities, which is, their kids. And for me, that was always huge. And I tried to pour that into football as well. And that's one thing I could truly say, bro. Like, one thing nobody can take away from me is my work ethic. You know what I mean? So doesn't matter what happens, bro. Like, I'm always gonna be working hard, no matter what. That's one thing I truly believe in. You gotta work hard for the things that you want in life. Because when I first started football, bro, like I wasn't good at it. Like, you had a lot of doubters. You know how that goes, bro. You know how the story goes. But at the end of the day, bro, like it's like you can't keep complaining forever, but you got to do something about it. And I'm a strong believer in doing, bro. Like, you just got to do it. Have that self-belief, like put your hard work boots on and just go to work, bro.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then, you had that last really good season at SLU, and now it's time for pro ball. What's the off season been like for you? I know you went to the CFL Combine recently. How was that? How was the pro day? Just where's your head at right now in terms of the off season?
It was good. Great experience for sure in terms of pro day and CFL Combine. Met with a couple teams. But overall, for the most part right now, it's a quick transition because you're done with college. Now it's like, okay, you have to get ready to transition into the pros. But really, you have 3 to 4 months of strict training till your pro day and the combine. And then as soon as you're done with that process, which can be draining, but at the end of the day, once you're done with that process, now you kind of have like a small break, could be like a week or a couple of days, and then now it's back to work, off-season work. So you have off-season work for like 3 to 4 weeks. So right now it's been good getting back into things. You know what I mean? I was taking a break on my body, just letting my body recover overall. But for the most part, right now, slowly building back into things, and it's been good, bro. Like my mental state right now is really just focus on the things that I can control. I can't control which team I'm gonna end up at in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? I can't control, um, like just which team's gonna pick me. So the best thing I can do right now is just focus on the tasks that I have at hand, which is taking care of my body, taking care of my nutrition, taking care of make sure I have enough sleep, taking care of my performance, making sure I'm ready to compete when camp comes around. So controlling the controllables, that's really it for me. And mentally, bro, I haven't really thinking too much about anything else, honestly.
For sure. And although you don't determine where you go, you don't control that. What you will control, though, is that revenge of dreamers will come with you no matter where you go.
Facts.
Speak on how that idea of the brand came about, and just where do you see that going as you continue into your pro career.
So honestly, for me, the biggest picture behind Revenge of Dreamers was, I don't know if you knew this as well, but my second year of football, I got cut from the Panthers.
I read about it a little bit. I heard about it a little bit.
So I got cut from the Panthers. So for me, it's always about, revenge of dreamers. So being able to revenge for me is becoming the best version of yourself. Revenge for me is not having to brag to other people when you do get the things that you want. You know what I'm saying? Revenge for me is attacking your goals on the daily. Revenge for me is, being consistent and being honest with yourself. Are you actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, or are you loafing? Revenge for me is, putting the work in. Revenge for me is, going after the dreams and the goals that you set for yourself, and actually like putting the steps forward into getting to those goals. So that's Revenge of Dreamers for me. You know what I mean? It's a embodiment of just a lot of things, but the biggest thing really is a kid that was doubted. You know what I mean? A kid that nobody thought would be in this position, bro. You know what I mean? A kid that nobody thought was even gonna go play in the States at a prep school in Florida. You know what I mean? Revenge is, bro, like, for me, it was like a kid that nobody thought would even get the opportunity to go D1. Coming from Haiti, not many kids get that opportunity. So you know what I mean? So for me, that's revenge of dreamers, bro. Like that's all I could say behind it. And it's always gonna be behind me. And I also have one of my friends, actually, Ebenezer, that's a part of the brand as well. Right now it's really just growth stage, bro. Like we're trying to figure out how to really grow this thing. We have a lot going on, but we're trying to bring this thing to life later on. There's a lot of things we want to do for the community as well, like camps, stuff like that. But yeah, revenge will always be around.
Definitely.
As long as somebody's out there dreaming and trying to get to their goal, bro, revenge is always gonna be around.
I like that. I rate that for sure. And then, with the last two questions, with Revenge of Dreamers, your pro dreams, where do you see Shakespeare Louis in 5 years from now?
In 5 years from now, I see myself being the best version of myself 5 years from now. You know what I mean? Still handling business, having the same mentality. I'm not even gonna talk about any like outside stuff because I'm a person that's very internally motivated. I'm not like the outside stuff don't really motivate me. I know that if I keep doing what I'm doing and I stay consistent, 5 years from now, I'm gonna be in a way better place than I am right now. Or maybe not, but at least I know that, I've been putting the work in and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But I know for a fact that, God willing, I'll still have peace of mind because I was able to do the things that I told myself I was gonna do, So that's where I see myself, honestly. Letting the results take care of itself, kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then last question, if you're talking to either young Shakes or a young athlete in Ottawa who has big dreams, whether that be in basketball, football, soccer, whatever it may be, what would your message be to the youth?
I would say, bro, don't let nobody tell you can't do nothing. You know what I mean? Shoot for the stars, and if you fall, you'll land on the moon. You know what I mean? Like, just that dream that you have, you can bring it to life. You know what I mean? But your daily choices and your daily, whatever you do in the daily, contributes to that. So whether you're doing the bad stuff, it contributes to that because you're getting yourself further and further away from that dream yourself for yourself. But if you're doing what you're supposed to do, it'll add up. Like, though the good things compound over time. Like whether you have bad days or good days, you can make your dreams happen. Like have confidence in yourself to the highest level. But obviously, like don't boast about it. Don't because at the end of the day, like you're not here to make you're not here to please people. You're not here to please everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You're not here to brag about the things that you have. But at the end of the day, just be confident. You know what I'm saying? The things that you set for yourself, like you can achieve it. Like just go for it. You know what I mean? Just keep going.
Definitely. Well, Shakes, I appreciate you for the
The
time.
interview, bro. Shout out JSA. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you for
Yes,
interviewing
sir.
me, bro. Like that's real.
Of course,
For
bro.
real.
Of course. You know what I'm saying? You got a big fan in me, so no matter where you end up, I'm gonna be rocking Revenge of Dreamers. I'm gonna need something after this.
I got you, fam.
I'm gonna make sure I buy something from the store. We'll tap in. You know what I mean? We'll work for sure. But this is JSA, Shakespeare Louis, off the clock.
Appreciate it, fam.
My God. There you go.
Yo, fam. You know JSA?